Back here at the University of Dayton Arena, the three wise men, Danny Holbrook, Miles Holiday, Nate Garlock. Gentlemen, one Lima Land team wins a state title, one falls short. Let's start with the Lima Senior Spartans as they fall to the Massillon Tigers in a state semifinal game.
Yeah, it was a tough night for the Spartans. It was one of the games where this is probably their worst shooting night that they've had all season long, and unfortunately it happened in this state semifinal. They just could not quite find that range from the three-point line. It's a tough way to watch the Spartans go down. An extremely talented team, takes nothing away from all the accomplishments that they've had, and it's been a lot of fun to watch them this season, but unfortunately it just wasn't their night.
Yeah, Miles, it was tough to watch them. They just didn't have that pep in their step today.
Never really got that moment that got them over the hump, right? 3 of 33 from behind the arc. You're not going to win many basketball games that way, especially the way they play. But it's their inability to stop Massillon from scoring points inside. Massillon dominated the paint. Other than Stearns, it was a real struggle for Senior.
And in the Division 7 state championship, gentlemen, what a game we had. The Delta St. John's Blue Jays, they cap off an undefeated season. They defeat the Kaleida Wildcats. They win the state championship. They were dominant today, Nate.
Yeah, listen, it was the perfect cherry on top of what their Sunday season has been, right? Like, that this is a journey fulfilled for them. This has been felt like a 3-year thing that they have been wanting to kind of finish their story. They were able to do so here tonight, beating Kaleida, a very game Kaleida team though, Miles.
Yeah, very good. You could say Elwer, they were just absolutely fantastic. Cam Elwer, one of those great games, 28, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. The thing that I marveled at is he always just makes the right play, doesn't he? Never makes mistakes, mentally tough, got to the free throw line. Nate, during the game we were talking about free throws. They were electric at 78%, Kaleida at 40%, a big difference in this basketball game.
Yeah, guys, I want to talk a little bit about the crowds over at Wright State for the Lima Senior game and back here at University of Dayton. Northwest Ohio absolutely showed up today, and it was phenomenal. Both of the arenas were just chock full.
Yeah, over at Wright State, they had to start moving the tarps. They had tarped off part of it. People were moving them. They were still standing all over the place. It was incredible. We get here over to UD for the second game of the night, and it's the same thing. They were all the way up against the wall on both sides. This place was completely packed. This is what makes basketball so special in our area. When the opportunity comes, the people show up, and it was an electric atmosphere in both arenas.
The thing about DSJ, though, is they just play so well all the time. They never make mistakes. Kaleida, I thought, did a great job of just trying to stay in it, but any mistake they'd make, St. John's would just turn it into points real easily. This team, though, for Kaleida, watch out next year, right? They got Grimm back, Stess Schulte back, Lease back. It's going to be a lot of fun. Owen Grimm's going to be the next big name around here.
I said that, guys, that you look at both those rosters, there's not a lot of loss. Now, look, Cam Elwer is moving on to Furman University. He's really good. But both of these teams, would you be surprised if they're back here again next year?
Oh, absolutely not. And especially that Kaleida team is so young. You talked about Owen Grimm and everything that he did. He had 18 points tonight. He willed this team, trying to keep them in. They got a lot of contributions. Listen, this is a game that at the beginning of the season was a blowout. St. John's ran away from it. Kaleida showed tonight why they got here. They earned their spot here. It wasn't a fluke. This is an extremely talented team. These guys grew up this season. They went through a tough schedule. They did everything they needed to do to earn their spot in the state championship game. They fall short, but I'll tell you what, they played right with Delta St. John's right to the very end. And like you said, I will not be surprised if we see Kaleida back next year.
And Miles, every time Delta St. John's went on a run today, the Kaleida Wildcats, they just wouldn't go away.
Yeah, they were willed on, right? Every guy would step up, but Owen Grimm, every time they needed a big bucket late in the game, he found a way, right? Big three, big drive to the bucket. He's going to be a fantastic player. I love how he lets the game come to him, and then when they need the bucket, that's when he steps forward. It's going to be so much fun to watch him. But congratulations, DSJ. What an absolutely efficient basketball team. Might be the most efficient basketball team I've ever seen. Well-deserved getting that championship that they needed, they wanted, and they finally got it.
Guys, before we wrap it up, let's talk a little bit about the legacy of the state Mr. Basketball runner-up. An absolutely unbelievable 4-year career at Delta St. John's. How will he be remembered, Nate?
He's going to go down as an all-time great, not just in the halls of Delta St. John's, where he's probably the greatest basketball player that's ever come through the place, but one of the all-time greats throughout all of Lima Land and Northwest Ohio. His ability to score, his ability to shoot behind a three-point line. When the ball leaves his hands, everybody in the arena thinks that it's going in. That is something special. We don't see players like that very often. Where he was as a freshman to where he finished his career, an absolute delight to be able to watch that and a pleasure it's been to call his games.
Miles, he's one of the best we've ever seen. You and I every week talk about how good he is. He does things that other people can't do. He's fantastic.
His basketball IQ for a young basketball player in high school is through the roof, right? There was a play early in this half where he understood what was going to happen with that Kalina defense before they even got there, made the pass before they could even collapse on him for an open teammate. He was just phenomenal, made everybody better. But the biggest thing about him, just a winner. Right? If you're going to play him in Connect Four, you're going to play him in checkers, he's going to find a way to beat you. The dude just loves to win.
And that'll wrap it up from the University of Dayton Arena, where the Delphos St. John's Blue Jays cap off a perfect 29-0 season. Let's go over to the interview room and talk to the coaches.
Ultimate Outdoor. Bring resort-style living to your backyard with a luxury outdoor space by Ultimate Outdoor. Johnson Mechanical is proud to support today's broadcast. Call the office today for all your HVAC needs. We service all makes and models. Good luck, area teams. Superior Credit Union, home of the Spirit checking account and a proud sponsor of local schools and athletics.
Yeah, I just told our kids in the locker room, they held true to what I talked about all week last week leading the state tournament. This was a group that just refused to give up and had so much fight, stuck together, and ultimately, you know, we battled a team with fantastic basketball players that was on fire in the first half, and just credit to our guys. You know, we could have folded pretty early in the third quarter there when they made a couple baskets to get started, and we got back and cut it to a couple possession game there for a little bit, and that just shows the grit and determination these guys have. And the reality of it is you know, 12-loss season, we're pretty good basketball players too. These guys have done so much to make the community and myself proud. They've got a lot to be really just proud of, and I told them all, make sure you hold your heads high.
Kind of old hat, Ryan, but obviously you guys at one point were 4-9, and what a run. What a big-time run for this ball club, and just turned things completely around to get here to the state championship game. Testament to your players, all of them. They just seem to play so well together. And I watched your team. You weren't afraid to go to your bench. You went up to 8-9 players the entire season too.
Yeah, you know, we were mixing a lot of kids. You know, I talked to them a little bit ago. Jackson and Logan they've been starting since they were sophomores. Parker and Nate both played as sophomores as well, and it was a year where they probably weren't quite ready, but being from a small school, sometimes you have a class where you don't have a lot of players, and they got thrown to the wolves pretty early. And for them to, as the season went on, accept roles that weren't necessarily leading scorer or the go-to guy, it's a testament to the kind of young men they are. Because it's amazing, as seniors, all of a sudden these guys are like, I don't want to quit playing. And they were, Coach, we're doing everything we can to win. It doesn't matter who it is. And it was a trust each other and trust yourself motto, you know, from the middle of January on.
Coach, how much was being physical part of your game plan today? Because they went to the free throw line 16 times. You got there 10, made it 4 of 10. They were 14 of 16. And it was a rough physical basketball game. How much of was that your plan to go out there and rough them up a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, these games at state tournament, typically they let players decide. But we definitely wanted Cam to know we were around. We weren't going to let him cut freely through the lane and play in space. So, yeah, physicality is a huge part of what we do. And, you know, we thought we could pound the ball inside a little bit, which we did, to take advantage of our size against their size. And, you know, ultimately it comes down to, you know, maybe the best shooter I've ever seen deciding that he wasn't losing today. And, you know, I just you tip your cap to Cam. He's phenomenal.
You know, Ryan, you talked about it already a little bit. Coming out third quarter, you're down at halftime. You probably want to get a good start, but they came out and put you in a bigger hole, but your guys just stayed there. So.
Yeah. You know, we actually talked at halftime a little bit about that. Like, you know, with the media timeout thing, we could kind of divide the game into 4-minute increments. And we talked a lot about it that first media timeout. We didn't have to go on an 8-0, 10-2, 12-4 run to get the game real close. We were just trying to win each 4-minute segment. And obviously that first 4 minutes didn't start out how we wanted, but in the remainder of that third quarter, we did a heck of a job of chipping away, and we were winning those segments. And then I believe we won that first 4 minutes, fourth quarter too, and just Cam just wore us out. Just started imposing his physical will on us, got to the line, and I think he missed 2 free throws tonight, which is pretty crazy, to be honest. I don't, he's a complete player.
Ryan, they got 5 threes from guys not named Cam Elwer. Do those feel like backbreakers every time they go in when you're kind of trying to live with what you get from Cam, which is a lot?
That's what makes them so good, because they're not backbreakers, because those other guys are really good shooters. Obviously Andrew shoots over 50%. Easton shoots about 40%. Their other guys can make shots, and that's what makes them so hard to guard. We talked a lot about when do we stunt, how soon do we do it on Cam, who are we leaving? When other guys penetrate, the rest of the team other than Cam, how often are we even helping at all? Are we going to make them shoot 2s over us because they're so good at getting to the lane and they kick to shooters? And that's what makes them so hard to guard, because they spread you out and are so fundamental doing that. And to hold them under 60, that's hard to do. Ultimately it was a game where we had to play superb offensive basketball, and we weren't quite superb. We were just really good.
Yeah. Owen, could you tell us what this was like for you guys to rise up and get here? What was this like being and living that?
This is probably my favorite basketball experience by far. We've had so much fun getting here, and I'm going to miss playing with all these seniors. I've been playing with them since I was a freshman, and I've gotten really close to all of them. And seeing us succeed like this as a team has been the most fun I've ever had playing basketball, and I wouldn't trade anything for this.
Jackson, you've been there through the good times and the bad times. You end your senior career tonight in the state championship game. Did you ever think, when you're going there through the wars as a sophomore and things weren't going so well, that you'd ever be at this point?
Yeah, I never really imagined us as a senior class going to the state championship, especially after that season. It was kind of rough, but it's awesome this year. So, good group of guys to do it with too.
Oh, and then weren't you the one that hit the shot against Minster?
Yeah.
So you hit the shot against Minster. You hit that one that was a deep 3 at the top of the key in the first half to kind of blunt them a little bit. Did it run through your mind? There just might be a chance before this thing is over that I get the opportunity to do that again, because I know shooters think about things like that.
Yeah. Well, when I made that 3, the only thing I was thinking was we were punching back at them a little bit and we're cutting the lead down. The only thing I really care about is if we win. I don't care if I'm the one doing it, if Jackson, Logan, whoever does it, whoever makes the game-winning shot, as long as we were winning. But sadly, couldn't get that done tonight.
Couple more questions.
Coach Ryan, obviously it's been a long season, but what are some lessons that you want this team and your players to kind of walk away with?
First of all, it doesn't feel long when you're with a group of kids like this. I should say young men. It goes by in a flash, because they make it very fun to be around them. And when you have a group of young men like this that are all about team, it makes coaching so fun. And I think the lesson that, and we talked about this, is, and I hope that they take it with them as they age, was they learned how to overcome adversity at a pretty young age. And, in the small town we're from, a lot about sports is life lessons as well. And for us to overcome adversity like that, and for them to be able to go back on that as they age and into work, into college, whatever it may be, I think it's a pretty big deal. And I think sometimes that gets lost in sport. So, yeah, I think that's the biggest thing.
All right, thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
First, this will be the best interview press conference that I'll have ever done in my entire life. One, because of my two sons sitting next to me, but more importantly, they're 13 teammates who decided to come and should be here to represent. History was made today. And hopefully we'll elaborate a little bit that as this goes. But what a great high school basketball game that was. Two storied traditions that know each other very, very well. Both teams tough, resilient, senior-led. Both teams have won a lot in multiple sports, and I knew that's what we were going to get today. Was a tough, physical, tightly contested, not one team giving up type of game. What a great atmosphere. I guess that's what you get when you get two Northwest Ohio teams. Small school basketball in the state of Ohio is awesome, and especially in Northwest Ohio. What a great environment for our guys to compete in and then ultimately succeed in. And it's something that they've done all season long. So extremely proud. It's a great day to be a Blue Jay, and it's great to be part around these guys who have done so much for our school and our community.
After facing them at the start of the season and knowing what they were doing down the stretch here on that great run to get here, you knew it was going to be a battle with them, obviously.
Yeah, you go into the season, I thought there was 4 really good Division VII teams in Northwest Ohio, and Clyde was one of them. They didn't get off to a great start, but if you went back and look at their schedule, we opened with them, but they had a very, very tough schedule. So when they went on this run, I probably told these guys and I told the coaching staff that I was not shocked because I know how they battle us every time we play them. We actually see them in the summer some. As they kind of got going here, again, we saw the results, as they went in a tournament. I was not shocked. Their sophomores have grown up immensely since we played them. Their seniors have led them. That's exactly what I thought we were going to get today from them.
29-0, Aaron, that's been what? Is that a record for you guys? Never been done before?
That's a record.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
And to do it with your two sons makes it even more special, right?
Yeah, the 1983 team was 28-0, and I alluded to that talking to our guys about how those 1983 guys, what an unbelievable season. They stay in contact with our players, myself. Such a great group of guys, and I was a very young age, and I can still remember them playing. And so, as this thing got closer and closer of all the different emotions and all the thoughts in my head, like to be in the same voice and same conversations with them and their perfect season is really, it's tough to put into words. I know those guys were rooting for these guys, and to do it on this stage, obviously, to break that record. It was a record-breaking season in a lot of ways, and the record's just one of them.
Coach, I've watched you guys, I feel like, year-round for 3 straight years, actually on this court back in the summer. Yeah. You set such a high standard for the program year-round. Is there anything, now that the journey is complete, that you're looking forward to off the basketball court to celebrate now that you made history, you won the state title, it's over? Yeah,
I'll let you a little bit into our family. So the other day, it would have been Monday or Tuesday, and our daughter Olivia was sitting there on her iPad. And I got home from practice, and Livy wasn't doing a whole lot. And I said, Livy, in about a week from now, you're mine. Alluding to we need to get her in the gym. So I look forward to that. I also look forward to being around Addie more. And then obviously my wife, Chris, is where all my mind will go right away. It'd be tough to come off this emotional high for sure. But, more family time and hang around, obviously, with my sons a little bit and hopefully around these guys. And a lot of them play baseball. These guys play baseball, so I'll enjoy some baseball as well.
Cam, 2 years ago, the injury versus PG. Last year, that tough loss to Arlington. Now that you're sitting here today, do you believe all that adversity was necessary to motivate you guys to put together this 29-0 season?
Yeah, no doubt. I've had a lot of people tell me that all things happen for a reason, and I truly believe that. God had a plan for us and for me, and it just showed today. I'm extremely blessed. I'm so proud of our guys that we got to experience this.
going to say, Aaron, we talk about throughout the entire season, just how great of a year it's been these few years, just the shooting percentages that you guys have put up. And obviously put it on display today as well, just an overall excellent, way to cap it.
Yeah, there's a process to this sport. It's a skilled sport. If you don't put time in, with your teammates, if you don't put time in on your own, meaningful time, typically it doesn't bode well for you. And this group has put in a bunch of time together, individually with our coaching staff, and for them to reap the benefits of that, and trusting the process and trusting the work when nobody's in the gym, such a great experience for them. And they'll always be remembered for their hard work and dedication paying off.
Aaron, you wrote at least a paragraph for me yesterday when you told me that yesterday was a testament of what your team is outside of what Cam is.
Yeah.
Because today he didn't have the greatest day of shooting the three, but Easton hit a couple.
Yep.
Andrew hit one. I think Tice hit one.
Yep.
And you still shot nearly 50% from three-point range today. And it wasn't his best day,
Yep.
but team-wise.
Yeah. Well, you certainly don't get to be 29-0 and be a state champion by being a one-trick pony. Cameron gets a lot of accolades, and deservingly so. But one thing I told these guys for a long time, it's about, your teammates and them getting better, you trusting them, being confident in their ability, and then for the other guys to respond to that and be able to be confident in the moment. Again, all these guys have put time in. They just have. And there's big sacrifices that go on into a season that we had, and that's talked about a lot. It's a testament to them. It's a testament how they've been raised in their family, to understanding and embracing their roles for the betterment of our success. And you could go through individuals last year, this year, who made big shots at big times in huge games. And I know you alluded to a few of them today, but I don't want to forget any of them, but they were critical in so many different ways, not just making shots, but, rebounding the basketball, taking care of the basketball. We talk about playing off 2 feet so much and making the right play. It's a unit. It's a together deal to get this done.
For all of you guys, what about the defensive side of things for you guys? I mean, the offense gets all the shot making, gets all the publicity.
Yep.
But if you could, all three of you, just address what the defense means for you guys.
Yeah, we understood that offense isn't always going to be the top of our game. We're not going to make every shot. We're going to have bad shooting nights, but defensively we can't waver there. We had a tough talk after the Bath game, and I think, all of our guys embraced that, and we practiced that, and we preached that the last how many weeks, and it showed in this tournament run. I don't know how many points we gave up altogether, but it can't be that many.
Andrew?
Yeah, Coach Odenweller said in the after the game that our defense, that the coaches had a meeting and they talked about our defense and how we were struggling. And everybody looked the coaches in the eye and said, okay, like we were gonna fight. And that's just a testament to all of our players, and that's just so cool that we all, sat down and played defense.
Yeah, they said it well. There were some tough conversations. We were really transparent with this group. They're mature, they're smart, and we just felt late in the year like we were letting our guard down, and we kind of had the approach at times that we were going to outscore you, and they were not wrong, but we also thought like if we were going to try to get this thing done, like we need to individually and team-wise guard better and rebound better. And again, as we brought that up as a staff, our guys took to it, and through, like Cameron said, I don't know what we gave up per game, in this tournament run, but it's not many. And if we do that, we are a tough guard that, to kind of hold us under that number was going to be very difficult for our opponents. So true testament, our guys, our staff, we went back to the basics. That wasn't a fun week, but that's why we're still sitting here today.
Cameron, you've spent 2 summers playing next to Ben Murgon. Andrew, you spent last summer playing next to Landon Evans. Either you guys have any predictions for the 7:30 p.m. game at Wright State?
I'm gonna roll with the Jags. We got a couple ties there with Coach Norris. He coached him, and it was kind of a full circle moment when I decided to join Midwest, and he coached me. He's a great coach. He'll rep you when you're not there, and I think that was good that I got to experience that with those group of guys, and I got the Jags.
Yeah, Landon Evans is a great player, and I think that we got ties with the Jaguars, so I'm going to go with the Jaguars.
I'm saying you'd rather be Aaron in your shoes right now than Brett Norris in his.
100%.
100%. But, Cam, I want you to tell me a little bit about Owen, because there were times today where you just felt like he was making some shots that, man, I hope he doesn't make those like all afternoon long, because this could get interesting. He's a great competitor, obviously. And I know you know him.
Yeah.
So what's his makeup like as a competitor?
Yeah, Owen and I are, I wouldn't say we're great friends off the court, but, when we see each other, we'll say hi and say what's up. But credit to him, he had a great night, and he's had a great tournament run. He's hit 2 game winners, and that's just a credit to his hard work and dedication towards the game. I have a lot of respect for him and his dad, and wish him the best of luck in his future.
Aaron,
Yep.
Obviously you guys are state champions, but what do you want people to remember about the 2025-2026 St. John's Blue Jays team?
Yeah, that's a loaded question, but a great question. It's as tough, resilient, mentally tough, intelligent, together group that I've ever coached. And I've been fortunate enough to be here for a while now and coach some really good groups. It's a group that takes hard coaching. It's a group that embraces their role. It's a group that understands the ability of how hard this sport is, and if you don't work at it on your own and really go to work, it typically doesn't, it doesn't pay off in the long run. But I told them the number one thing that I'm going to remember most is their ability to handle the expectations, the pressure, from the end result to last year to us, keep winning. And it was never talked about. I guess I always err on, I don't want to bring some things up and cloud their mind. That's how I think. How they did that, I learned so much from this group that is going to make me a better coach, going to make me a better dad, make me a better human, because they were as tough and could block out the targets that were on our back every single night. So just their resiliency and toughness and is the biggest thing I'll never forget. Yep.
And for Cam, 4 years, you cap off your high school career as a state champion. You share this with your dad, your brother. Your brother's right here too. Can you kind of put into words what that has meant to you as you prepare for the next chapter of your basketball career?
Yeah, it's hard to put it in words. It seems like this is what we've worked for our whole lives, and to kind of experience it now, it's truly a blessing. I'm just so proud of our guys and the hard work they put in, all the tough coaching, all the tough teammate-to-teammate conversations that I've had with them. But I just really wanted them to win so bad. I love them boys so much, and I'm just so happy that we got to experience this, and it makes it a lot easier that my career is coming to end, winning this game, and so yeah.
Aaron, you kind of joined a fraternity, Bob Arns and Brett Norris as the coaches have brought home state titles to St. John's. Just talk about kind of joining that fraternity of,
Yeah, it's surreal. As I grew up, I went to Coach Arnson's basketball camps and got to know him. He retired right as I was getting into high school, so I never had the opportunity to play for him. And obviously his resume and his Hall of Fame career, our gym is named after him. His family, who lives farther away, are great supporters and came to a lot of our games. Surreal. Coach Norris, is why I'm here. It's why I'm doing what I'm doing. When he came to Delva St. John's, I was a freshman, and I took to him like no other. It was a unique bond in a way. His preparation, his work ethic, his passion and love for competing struck a chord with me. and I am ever indebted to him. He still helps me. He is still a huge supporter of Delphos St. John's from afar. I love that guy. He is why I'm here. So to be mentioned with Coach Arns and Coach Norris, I've never really thought of that until you asked, Gary, and maybe I'll think about that a little bit more as we get going here. But what a cool day today is, and those two guys are Hall of Fame guys and two of the best coaches to ever do it.
We're going to take one final question after this one.
Guys, perfect season on the court. I'm just curious for each of you, did that also translate to the perfect season off the court in terms of enjoying the ride and taking in the moments as they come and appreciating everything that you've achieved along the way?
Yeah, for sure. I enjoyed this season as much as any season before. To spend it with my guys, the people that I've grown up with, and my brothers and my dad. I understand that not many people get this opportunity. I try to make the most of it, even on the tough practice days, the tough games, the tough losses. I did try to enjoy it, and I'm so glad that I got to experience all this with all these people.
Yeah, this is something that I'll miss forever. Like, these seniors, they're all my best friends, and I'm gonna miss them. It was so fun to play with them and Cam. Obviously, it's sad to know that we're not gonna play anymore, but the workouts, the practices, something I'll remember forever.
Well said, Andrew. I've had several people tell me, Coach, you got to really have fun and enjoy the moment. It's really hard as a head coach. I guess how my mind works. I would take moments throughout the week and try to enjoy it. But I think my job, our staff's job, is to always get us ready for the next game and the next battle, because I think that's what they want. And that's where my mind has always been. Having the unique opportunity to coach 3 sons, a couple nephews, and some great guys in our program, I will look back, starting now, at how much fun this journey was. We had a little slogan, and I'm not a slogan guy, to enjoy the journey. And about middle of December into September, I really started to enjoy the journey as our guys started to really grow up and take to what we were trying to get done. These guys have a unique bond that they will never, ever get rid of. And it could not have ended any better. And sometimes life does not work out that way, but today it did. And it'll go down as one of the best days of my entire life.
One last question. This is for Andrew and Coach Elwer. You got 8 great seniors. Who are you going to miss the most?
I'd say for sure Ian.
Ian's a good answer. He obviously, I told him as I gave him multiple hugs, he's the number one guy. Our crowd's been awesome and been loud for a number of years now. But Ian takes things to another level. Ian is an awesome, awesome kid, and he deserves it. This senior I'm going to miss the most, Braden. It's a tough question. I'm going to miss every single one of you. I'm going to take the easy way out. You all are unique. You all are different. You have all done something great for this program and our school and our community. And you've done something really, really cool, selfishly, for myself and our family, that I'll ever be indebted to you guys. So I'm going to miss every single one of you.
All right, thank you, Coach.
All right. Good job. Yep.
Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, located in Walpock, Delphos, and St. Mary's. Locally owned and operated, Lee's is not just famous for chicken, we're famous for catering too. Charles River in Spencerville is expanding and hiring individuals interested in finding cures to disease and helping mankind. Visit jobs.criver.com to apply today. Webb Insurance Agency, serving Lima and Allen County for more than 100 years, with offices in downtown Lima and Bluffton.
Welcome back to the University of Dayton Arena, where in double overtime, the Marion Local Flyers are defeated by the Berlin Highland Hawks 54-51. I'm Danny Holbrook, joined by Miles Holliday and Nate Garlock. We are the 3 wise men. And guys, what a game it was tonight. A double overtime loss for Marion Local. but when you look at the stat sheet, Miles, it's not hard to figure out where the ups and downs came from.
A game that should have been played in a driveway, right? Olivia Newton-John, physical, was playing this whole game. This was an absolute brawl, a double overtime with Thriller. But like you said, Danny, Marion Local took care of the basketball all year long until tonight. 17 turnovers, made free throws at a timely rate to win games, 40%. Not going to get it done. Unfortunately, those are the reasons why they didn't win the state title here tonight.
Yeah, Nate, look, I'm just going to say this. I have never seen as physical a basketball game in the state tournament that I've seen tonight. And I've been to a lot of state tournament games. It was an absolute slugfest.
Yeah, at the end of the day, the officials let them play. They didn't want to be the ones that decided who walked away with the title, and that meant some physical play. Both teams were up for the challenge. Ultimately, though, Berlin Highland, they started to make a few more shots. You got to give a lot of credit to Grant Kramer, though. He did everything he could do to keep his team in this one tonight. He had 22 points. He hit some massive three-pointers, one that sent it into double overtime. Marion Local had lots of opportunities. They had an opportunity at the end of regulation to end this. They had one possession in that fourth quarter where they continued to get opportunities at the free throw line, could only go 2 for 6 in that one possession. And ultimately, like you had said, Miles, those free throws are what cost them, shooting 40% on the night. There's not a lot of other things for them to look for because the effort was there. They were up and down the floor. They were high intensity. They were fast-paced. They played physical. It just came down to the free throw line.
Yeah, Miles, we look and we watch Marion Local play all year long, and they're usually the most physical team. I'm not real sure tonight they were the most physical team, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but Berlin Highland was really physical.
Berlin Highland was fantastic. Now, here's the thing about Berlin Highland, an amazing stat. They played 6 quarters of basketball here tonight, only 8 turnovers. That's impressive stuff right there. Hey, look, Marion Local, we wish you guys would have won. It was a fantastic, but you lost to 2 state champ teams, and those are the only 2 teams that you lost to this year. Great year, even though you didn't win it.
Yeah. Let's go over to the press conference and hear from the coaches.
Yeah, I would just say that, you know, the fans that came here today, everybody in attendance got treated to just one hell of a high school state championship game between, I would say, 2 storied programs. Berlin Highland's obviously very storied in their tradition. We haven't been there quite as many times in basketball, but obviously we have a big athletic tradition. It's everything you want in a state championship game. The ebbs and flows of the game, we thought maybe we had it won in regulation, and they made some plays at the end to get it to overtime. Then it looked like they had it won in the first overtime, and Grant hit some big shots to get it to a second overtime. And then, you know, and even in the second overtime, it was nip and tuck. I feel like we had a lead at least once in the second overtime, maybe twice. But, you know, they just made one more play than we did at the end. That's kind of a cliche, but they did. And obviously, you know, the thing I told our kids in the locker room after the game is nobody's blaming anybody. When you get in, you know, you're in the arena and everybody's watching you, you know, you lay it on the line, you play your guts out, and you're not going to play perfect. And, you know, things happen, but nobody's blaming anyone. It just, you know, the game just didn't go in our favor. But I think you have to give a ton of credit to Berlin Highland. They guarded as well as any team has all year. They were just, it was so hard for us to get into our offense. Against most teams, we can run a lot of sets. Against them, we couldn't really run sets. And at halftime, we just decided to space the floor a little bit and try to get downhill. It took a gutty effort by our guys even to get to 50-some points because they are very good defensively. So all the credit in the world to them and credit to my guys too because we played our butts off.
Thank you. Kurt, you said last night this would be a football game. It was pretty physical. There's a lot of stuff that didn't get called. What are your thoughts about just how this game was, that tone of the game?
Yeah, you know, if you everybody, those of you that know Kurt Stubbs, he tweeted out, you know, the notes about what the Division 5, 6, and 7 game and about our game. His note was, how will the refs call the game? And I would say the refs let him play, and that's just like we like it. We want it to be a physical game because we're a physical team, and it's how Berlin Highland likes it. And so we knew, heck, what was the score at halftime? It was a low-scoring game. I told you last night this game was going to be a fist fight, and that's exactly what it was for 4 quarters. I'm cool with how the refs called the game because that's how we both wanted it. You know, it may not look like basketball, it may not be pretty to the teams in the stands, but we build our tradition in basketball here on tough physical defense. And, you know, maybe there's some calls that went their way, and there's probably some calls that went our way. So, you know, it's nobody's fault. I'm glad the refs called it physical, and that it is what it is.
Coach, I mean, just sort of a tough night at the line for your team. First half sort of turnovers got you. Did you think that just, you know, less than 24 hours removed from just a physical game the night before, did you think that maybe this game, as it wore on, sort of maybe wore you guys out a little bit?
I think that's probably a better question for these two guys. I don't know if they, you know, lost their legs a little bit, you know, as the game wore on. We didn't sub very much tonight. We pretty much played 6. Really, we didn't sub out our top 3 or 4 kids the whole game. You know, I thought last night, obviously, Lincoln View pushed us, and so that was difficult. But I also thought there were media timeouts. Plus, we had 5, 6, 7 timeouts with the overtimes that we could get enough breaks, and they were calling timeouts. I just didn't go very deep in my bench tonight just because I wanted, you know, I thought we have to have our best players out there. So you'd really have to ask them if it wore on them. But, you know, we played through a lot of it.
I mean, I don't really think. We got them 24 hours of rest all season. We were playing Friday, Saturday. Both games were physical, but we just, I mean, I don't think that really had anything to play with it. We just didn't convert.
I'll tell you, he didn't lose his shooting legs, I'll tell you that. He made some big shots in the overtimes. So what do you think, Grant?
I mean, my knees were hurting a little after yesterday, but, you know, yeah, we've been doing it all season, so it's nothing new to us.
Braden, I know you're hurting a lot right now, and I know a lot of things you're thinking about with this game. I know Coach came over and gave you a big hug after the game, and while they were getting their medals and stuff. All right, can you share a little bit of that?
I mean, he basically just, short story, told me he loved me. I mean, we all love each other on this team. I don't think it's anything shocking. Everyone's crying in the locker room, and then we're laughing. I mean, yeah, it sucks, but we literally maximized. We played 2 extra quarters tonight, maximized as much time together as we could. I mean, losing sucks, but yeah, I heard Coach say to Kale, I'd rather lose with this group of guys than win with someone else. And, I mean, that's about as true as you can get.
And you feel that way too?
For sure. These are the best guys I've ever been around.
I did have to ask you, you know, what's it like being at the line in those situations and just things don't go your way?
It's the game of life. He also told me just like there's bigger things in life. And basketball, I mean, we're all competitive. We don't want to lose, but there's way bigger things to worry about in life.
And then, Grant, in those situations of those threes, you got to hit those 2 threes. I think we're like 10 seconds apart. What's it like just being in that moment, and how'd you feel as those shots were going up and going in?
I mean, I don't really think too much when I shoot the ball. I just kind of let it fly. I mean, luckily they went in. You know, gave us a chance to get a second IT, but yeah, I mean, felt pretty good after I hit them, but you know, it just is how it is.
Braden, as the floor general of the team, you know, both you guys are playing like heavy defense. They made it really tough for you to penetrate around the defense and move the ball around. What kind of looks were they giving you defensively that made it difficult throughout the night?
I mean, that 23 guarded me. I think that's the best defender I've seen all season. He didn't let me do anything I wanted to do all night. So props to him. And a few times I got around him, I just, like, big kids in the middle, can't shoot around him. They were helping all night. I mean, props to their whole defense, their coaching staff for making them good on defense. I would say they pride themselves in defense also, and it just proved tonight. So props to their defense.
Braden, for you first, and then Coach, if you'd respond to this as well. A lot of people might make a thing about getting to a second state championship and then, you know, losing back-to-back years. But I guess speak to the positive note of that. Getting to 2 in a row, how difficult that is, what you guys accomplished to this group, and then, of course, the community that Marion Local, of course, has to see that, you know, support, you know, for 2 straight runs. How special is that?
I mean, so special. Like, our community is the best community in the world. We lost and no one left. They watch us all receive our silver medals. They're all cheering. We're walking out. All of our parents, not even our parents, our people that don't even have any relation to us are crying up there. That's just how our community is. They love us. And obviously it's not easy, just the season, but we came out every game and gave it our best, and just both seasons were great for us.
Last year we set a school record. We were 26-3, lost in the state championship game. It was very disappointing, and I didn't think, you know, with us getting off to a late start in football, I didn't think we could have seasons where we would only have 1 or 2 losses. And our losses are to Delphus St. John's, who just won a state title. We lost to them last year and this year, and we lost to Rushius, probably the best team I ever coached against last year. And I thought this year it would be way more difficult to replace Austin Niekamp and some of the guys we lost, Ryan Holman, some of those key senior pieces, Daniel Everman, Damon Kramer. We lost those guys last year, and I thought we could have a pretty decent year and then maybe make a run in the tournament. And we had a whale of a season. To only have 1 loss and to look at our schedule. Look who we played. I mean, we played Van Wert and Spencerville. Lima Bath made the Division IV regionals. Jonathan Alder made the Division IV regionals. We played a really good schedule, and if you look, most of our games weren't close. Our games were 10 or 12, 15-point victories. We only had 1 or 2 close games all year. Obviously not the Delphus game, but everything else, you know, we played really well. What these guys accomplished is crazy. I never thought we could have a season like this. And as Braden said before, we maximized our time together 2 years in a row. How lucky are we? And, you know, I'll probably say this again, you know, when we got beat last year and we had our welcome home, I said the negative is that we lost, but the positive is if we had won the game today, we would be jumping up and celebrating and this kind of that, but we wouldn't really tell each other how we really feel about each other. And now we had that opportunity in the locker room as a loss. So that's a silver lining. I got to let them guys know how much I love them, and they did the same. Everybody, you don't want to lose. It sucks. But for us to have that opportunity and be playing on the last day is pretty special.
Back here at the University of Dayton Arena, congratulations to the Delphus St. John's Blue Jays for their state championship, for Marion Local, and all the local teams who made it down here for a great weekend of high school basketball. And thank you, Lima Land, for watching us each and every week right here on WOSN.